I don't even have to say anything. If you know,
You know.
you know. If you know, you know. So
If
the
you
Bengals,
know,
I got
you
the
know.
Bengals having a great chance. I think they're going to win this game. Now, I like the Rams. I like a lot of things about the Rams, but I like more about the Bengals, as you found out, Nick, a couple weeks ago against your beloved Chiefs. They have all of what it takes. And this is what I like about this team. We talk about their stars, but we don't really talk about the depth of this team and how they play so well together collectively, utilizing the skill sets of their superstars, of the Jamar Chases and the Joe Mixons. But Tyler Boyd, yes, has he gotten some pub this year? Not a whole lot, but he's a great receiver. He's going to have to be special. Why do I mention Tyler Boyd? And also T. Higgins? Because I remember playing in the Super Bowl game, and we went up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I knew I was going to be matched up against Ike Taylor. Jordy Nelson, who hadn't had a spectacular year. He was an up-and-coming, emerging superstar to be in this league. We knew he was going to be matched up with their third-best corner. Well, we felt like he was a 1A, 2 type of a guy in that moment in his career. And he played lights out and gave us an opportunity to win. Also, defense, very opportunistic, got a lot of turnovers. It reminds me of this Bengals team. They are a very opportunistic team, a young team, a team that has absolutely nothing to lose, a team that had – who knew about the playoffs winning with the Bengals? No one. And then you beat the Raiders. You're picked against the Titans. You go there. You beat the Titans, the number 1 seed in the AFC. Then the beloved Kansas City Chiefs, a team that in Nick Wright's mind could not be beaten. And they put the hammer down on the Chiefs. And now we're smoking cigars. We're smoking premiums. And we're sitting in the Super Bowl. And the question is, do they have a chance? Yes, they have. Joe Cool.
All right, Greg, it's well done. And I hope you enjoy that cigar, just like I hope Joe Burrow enjoyed his cigar after the AFC Championship game, because it is the last cigar you or Joe are going to have for quite some time. Because here is what we know.
Yeah, there it is.
We know in the Super Bowl what is the clearest recipe to blowing a team out. It is not have an all-time great offense. That ain't the recipe. The Broncos, the first year with Peyton, had an all-time great offense. They didn't blow out the Seahawks. They got blown out. The Patriots in 2007 had an all-time great offense. They didn't blow anybody out. The Chiefs 2 years ago had an all-time great offense. They won, but they didn't blow anybody out. The recipe to a blowout, and we've seen it a half dozen times just this century. If the other team can't block you, you're going to kick the hell out of them. That is absolutely, let's go down the list. The Ravens. The Giants couldn't block them 20 years ago. That thing was a laugher. The Raiders couldn't block the Bucs 20 years ago. A laugher. With the Seahawks, the Broncos couldn't block them. That game was over immediately. Last year, the Chiefs couldn't block the Bucs. That game was over. The Broncos, the year they won it with Peyton, that wasn't a laugher, but Carolina only got to 10 points. Why? Because they were starting Mike Rimmers at tackle, the same Mike Rimmers the Chiefs had to start last year. Damn it, I'll never get over that either. But you can't block them. Wilds, you can't block them. We have seen it. When your Patriots didn't get blown out when the Giants beat them twice, but what was the story? They couldn't block them, and the Patriots couldn't get to 20 points because of it. You're not playing Ryan Tannehill on the other side of the ball this time. I don't think Stafford's going to throw 3 picks. I don't think one offensive touchdown is going to be enough the way it was against the Titans. I don't think the Bengals can block them. And I think that because of that, I think the Rams are going to crush them.
Look, I think you are halfway right. But here's some life advice. If you're ever in a bar, you get cut off by a guy with cauliflower ear, let him go. Don't mess with that guy because he's been through some battles. That's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was sacked 51 times this year. He's the first quarterback to lead the league in getting sacked and making it to the Super Bowl. So the idea that Aaron Donald is all of a sudden going to mess him up, he's going to be like, buddy, I basically have the football version of cauliflower ear. Been there, done that, and he lived to tell about it. So, Greg, I'm going to throw this to Broussard. Broussard, here's the other thing, and I understand on paper it doesn't work. And the Bengals are underdogs by 4 points. Uh-oh. Let's look at the history of 4-point underdogs. What in the world is this statistic Dusty dug up? Eagles, outright win. Patriots. Broncos, outright win. Panthers. Ravens, outright win. San Francisco Saints, outright win. Colts. On this one, as much as I've gone and petitioned the league office that there were some slight violations and penalties that weren't called, that win still stands Giants over Patriots. And Broussard, specifically, I want to talk about the Eagles and the Saints. The two weirdest plays in recent Super Bowl memory are those Super Bowls. It was the Phillies special, and it was Sean Payton saying, you know what? Let's onside kick it to start the second half. And I think that happens because the Eagles played loose and free, were underdogs, who cared. The Saints playing loose and free, were underdogs, who cares. And I think that is the mentality that the Bengals are going to have. Even if they're down, they're going to play loose and free, who cares, just like Joe Burrow did against the Chiefs. For those reasons, Broussard, I know you've made your Rams pick. I just want to, the whole week I've been trying to push you. Just admit, me and Greg have pushed you a little bit towards the Bengals side. And by the Bengals side, I mean your hometown Bengals, my friend. Don't let all of the Broussard family down. Your hometown Bengals.
Well, look, nice try, Wilds. Nice graphic. I'm sticking with the Rams, but I'm not mad at you. And Greg, I'm not mad at you either for your picks. And if you didn't know, Greg, I am from Cincinnati. So if the Bengals win, I do get to claim them. It's within the television predictions handbook.
Wow.
If you're from a hometown, you get to claim them. All right, so win or lose, I'm winning this thing. All right, it's in the rules. I don't make the rules. It's legal, though. Trust me. So, but I'm going with the Rams. I think it'll be a good game, close game. But I want to throw this at you, Greg. Is part of your thinking for the Bengals, like, do you think Stafford is going to have a bad game? Like the stage, whether it's the stage or whatever. We know he almost cost them the NFC title game if Jaquazi Tart catches that ball. So is that part of your rationale for picking the Bengals, that you don't think Stafford going to have a great game?
Huge part of my rationale, Chris. When I think about the best players on the field, obviously Aaron Donald defensively, Jalen Ramsey, we can go on and on and on. But the most important position is the quarterback position, we all know. And I believe that the best quarterback that will take the field for either team is Joe Burrow, and he gives them the better chance. Nick, it's interesting that Chris threw this question to me because I wanted to mention this. A couple weeks ago, Stafford, he's got to have one of those games. He's going to throw those picks. Yeah. He hasn't had that yet.
He tried to against the Niners.
I don't want to hear about what he tried to do. It didn't happen. And so that means
right to him.
But in the world of Nick Wright, only to make things right, Matthew Stafford has to have one of those games. It can't be if. It can't be an almost.
Just got dropped.
It has to be a guarantee. So maybe now, just maybe in the Super Bowl, we might see what you've been waiting for.
Listen, Greg, I like this. See, this is like Greg Jennings 3.0. Greg Jennings calling back to previous shows, trying to wrap me in a logical vice. Now, I'm going to wiggle out of it, as I always do. But I like what you're doing, sir. Ever since you got this Bengals pick right, Greg is really sowing his oats. It's really outstanding television. He's going to be dead wrong on this, but that's fine. The best thing that happened to the Bengals is this suit and Greg's pick, and it's all downhill from there. With that said, 2 points about this game before we move on. One is, Wilds keeps saying he was sacked 51 times. As if that's okay, so he knows how to overcome it. The games where he was sacked a bunch, aside from the Titans game, they lost. He got sacked 5 times by the Bears. The Bears beat him. Sacked 5 times plus times by the Browns. Blew him out. Chargers blew him out. The Niners sacked him 5 times and beat him. So when he gets sacked a bunch of times, they lose except for the Titans game. And lastly, and I can't believe, Jenna, no one else has mentioned this, the Rams have an established, obvious, totally unfair, somewhat ridiculous, really questions the competitive balance of the game advantage. Everyone knows a home Super Bowl is an impossible hill for the opposing team to climb. 100% of the time, the home team has won home Super Bowls. They've been blown out. There are a lot of people that feel those games should be struck from the record. And so nobody's talking about that. We all know it's impossible, literally impossible to win a Super Bowl on the road, no matter if you have the greatest quarterback ever. It doesn't matter. And Joe Burrow's good. He's not the greatest quarterback ever. So I'm just saying, in that regard, I also think if
100% is 100%.
This history tells me that.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.